Yeah, hello everyone and welcome to our webinar today. I think it's enough time for everyone to join our webinar, so we'll get a start. Okay, everyone, welcome to the HP Business Service Management overview, introducing the big data analytics for IT. This is brought to you today by Vivid, your independent HP software community. Let's move on to the next slide, please. And this is brought to you today by the Vivid Business Service Management Special Interest Group. And if you'd like to find out more information about this special interest group, please visit the Vivid website where you can get in contact with the leaders from this special interest group. Next slide, please. And today I will be your host. My name is Damien Versace and I'm one of the co-leaders of the Melbourne Vivid chapter, but my day job is as a consultant from SMS Management Technology, an Australian consultancy. Next slide, please. And today's presenter for our topic is Kapil Kahul. He's the Director of Operations of Product Business for HP Software. So I'll hand over to Kapil for the presentation. Oh yes, and just a few housekeeping items. This is a live webinar session being recorded. So if you'd like to review the recording after the session, you can. And if you have a question during the webinar, please type the questions in the questions pane, and the next slide will show you how to do that. So if you can see on the GoToMeeting webinar controls, if you expand on the questions section, you can go in and type in your questions, and we'll collect those questions and we'll ask those questions at the end of the session. So over to you, Kapil.
All right, thank you, Damon, for the introduction. Good afternoon. My name is Kapil Kaul. The agenda today is to provide you an overview of what's new with our solution BSM, and I will also introduce to you the big data analytics for IT. It's a brand new solution that HP is going to offer in the market very soon. My agenda includes key business challenges. We'll talk about what we are doing in the products to improve efficiency of operations. We'll also look at how big data landscape like Hadoop and Vertica is actually changing the way IT is being managed. And then we'll also introduce the new style of IT management using the operations analytic concept that we have with HP. So to start with, let's look at our key business challenges. Today, as we all see, the world is changed from what was traditionally a well-known architecture of systems, databases, applications, offering services to customers, to a world where you have services being delivered at multiple front ends, be it a PC client, be it a mobile device, a tablet. This is resulting in a whole host of technologies being introduced in the IT data centers of our customers. New technologies would mean new knowledge that our IT managers need to acquire. Also, it creates a challenge of islands being created by specialists, because new technologies would need newer way of managing, and traditional management may not offer solutions for all the technologies. It's got further complicated by the concept of virtualization. So traditionally a system would contain a service and would be actually hosting the service for a longer duration. With virtualization, the systems became very dynamic, and a number of systems would actually offer the service, making it difficult for IT managers to envision how much space and how much CPU is being consumed by the service as of today. And finally, the cloud. With introduction of services being consumed from cloud, the data center has extended beyond the premises of the organizations into the data centers of the cloud service providers. So the challenge of managing the entire ecosystem has become greater than what it was in the past. In order to understand the challenges it creates, let's just look at some of the facts that Gartner and other analysts have provided to us. Close to $426 billion worth of downtime per year is estimated in IT organizations worldwide today. About 5.75 million servers are actually installed every year, and about 10% of them remain unused. It's no surprise that the data center today has 30,000 plus resources, because when we look at resources, these are virtualized, complex pieces of infrastructure or applications or storage that eventually leads to a huge infrastructure that needs to be managed. And there has been close to 300% increase in the number of events over the last 5 years, which has resulted in an information deluge that needs to be managed by the IT managers. HP BSM software understands the challenge and is providing solutions and innovating in managing the IT infrastructure, which is generating a huge amount of data. One, by consolidating data from multiple disparate sources. That's our big innovation. We'll talk about that. By providing intelligence to operations such that they can make decisions to reduce the mean time to repair. And also introducing automation in the way we manage the entire infrastructure. Doing this across heterogeneous environments, applications, and technologies that organizations are today introducing in the data centers in order to offer services to their end users. As you may be familiar, Business Service Management solution of HP has got predominantly 4 key pillars. It starts with our classic infrastructure management ability, the ability to manage the networks, the servers, the storage, whether it is on-premise or across virtual systems. Our ability to monitor end-user experience using our application management capability to understand either using synthetic information or real user information, the end-user's perspective of the application. We also have Operations Bridge, which gives us the ability to bring together disparate silos under infrastructure, under applications, be it in cloud, and also third-party tools that might be out there into one single consolidated management solution that offers the ability to generate root cause across disparate systems. And finally, we introduced Operations Intelligence with our solution called Operations Analytics, which I will introduce later, which provides intelligence across this huge information that is being collected by IT today to manage their infrastructure. Provide intelligence so that we can make sense out of this information. All of this is built on HP's unique offering called the runtime service model that gives us the ability to have context to the solution. IT management today, in the traditional sense, has been extended by HP by using the core engine, the runtime service model at the heart of our solution, which gives us the ability to relate the metrics, the events, and the whole lot of log data that is generated by machines into the service model that is offering the end service to the user. By doing so, we can do prediction, user analytics, operational analytics, which is actually understanding what went wrong in the past, create dashboards, report on services, and also do financial analytics across a service. And this is a very powerful position for IT managers, because They do not have to look into multiple systems and disparate systems to get information so that they can take decisions. One solution with the unique runtime service model, which provides you the ability to get multiple perspectives for the same information that you are collecting. Let's look at improving operational efficiency quickly. With the introduction of Operations Manager I, which is our Operations Bridge product, HP introduced some unique capabilities out there. First, we already provided the ability to have potential possible root causes based on our topology-based event correlation in the previous version of OVPI. We had also introduced automatic event detection and suppression to reduce the number of events that are seen in the event console. Now we also introduced now the stream-based event correlation, which provides the value in following three ways. Gives you the ability to make sure that frequent events, the repeat events that are out there are not actually consuming the space on the event console. It detects combination events in order to reduce the number of events for the event console and make it easier for the operator. Most importantly, it also looks for a missing occurrence. Many times an event is a good event and you want that event to come in every time. And if an event is missed, you want to detect that. And the stream-based event correlation introduces that concept. We also introduced a new dashboard which gives the ability to create a matchup dash based on events. There is no need to map health indicators. You can, based on events, which is the status of the service, put the service status in front of the dashboard and monitor it in a knock. And finally, we introduced modern user interfaces. Today we support iOS. We also have a native application for Android. And we also have a Windows 8 quick access for Windows-based tablets. So you can be mobile and the data will follow you wherever you are. In order to keep the operators, the IT operators who are spending the whole day in front of the solutions, engaged with OMI 9.2x, we also introduced the concept of gamification. And this is a way of creating healthy competition within the team and also awarding people for the good work that they are doing day on and day out. Based on the concept of providing immediate notification, achievement on their timelines inside OMI. So yes, you can see from the pictures examples like URL tool starter, it's a star that the person has received, script tool starter. So same way managers can actually award their teams on their timeline and highlight the achievements that they have. We believe this is a good way of team collaboration and people coming together and competing with each other. The other area where we introduced the concept of improved productivity is monitoring automation. Monitoring automation is a concept where we give the capability to automatically define the configuration for the service based on the runtime service model. For the operator or the administrator of OMI, they do not need to worry about what policy needs to go in, which kind of agentry is used, whether it's an agent list or agent-based monitoring solution. They can tune the parameters and dedicated workflows will actually go and deploy it across the infrastructure. So based on the runtime service model, you can define a policy and you can define the parameters for that particular service and it will be automatically taken care of. This actually reduces the amount of time the operators take to instrument or to configure their monitored servers or services application individually. This will be done based on runtime service model centrally by OMI. It's a huge saving in amount of time to monitor the services. How it works, if you notice out here, for composite applications, applications are discovered within runtime service model. The results are matched with an application blueprint for that model, which would be created by the administrator, and the monitoring automation will automatically deploy the blueprint for that particular service. But it keeps constantly discovering the service and not just one time. And if there is a change, if for example the system scale out, it increase in the number of servers happen, it will automatically extend the monitoring to the next set of servers that got introduced to the service. And if some application moves out, it will automatically remove the monitoring. And this is a huge operational saving for IT monitoring team today, because they don't have to really worry whether each and every server is being monitored with the right policy. Now, if you see from a benefits point of view, today, whenever an operator has to configure, they need to worry about whether it is an OM agent, whether it is agentless, or it could even be open to connecting other tools. All three of them would be taken care of by monitoring automation. The tailoring is done by the designer or the subject matter expert, and the system takes care of actually sending it out to the managed services. The parameters are easy to be tuned. There is no need to have any policy training. The subject matter experts can tune the parameters for the monitoring policy and send it out. And finally, a report which will tell the experts that which are the services that are being monitored and how many of them are being monitored. The report can be built on a configuration item, which is a single server, or it can be built on entire service, whichever way is required. Today, OVPI management packs are available for infrastructure, operating systems, virtual OS, clusters. We also introduced these for the big data infrastructure like Hadoop or Vertica, which is from HP, and also Oracle Relational Database. More are going to be introduced in short time frames so that more and more applications can automatically be monitored and policies can be automatically deployed on them. To give you an idea of what it contains, let's look at briefly at the Hadoop Management Pack. It contains the monitoring automation for availability and performance monitoring of core components like the Hadoop file system, the map and reduce services, system infrastructure monitoring. It supports Hadoop on Linux, Ubuntu, and other versions of Linux. It contains monitoring for critical services, infrastructure, cluster monitoring, and so on. So it takes care of critical components that need to be monitored in the Hadoop management. Another example is Vertica. Again, in Vertica, we provide the ability to automatically monitor the Vertica environment. It understands the various key parameters as they are listed on the right-hand side of your slide at the bottom. The disk space, the read-only file system, so on, so that are very important for a Vertica file system to be managed or database to be managed. More like an IP, which is already created and available to subject matter experts to be fine-tuned by them and deployed across the service. Oracle is yet another management pack which provides you the ability to automatically monitor the Oracle databases. It also gives the ability to monitor the system infrastructure underlying the Oracle database. So it takes care of the entire database system from the point of view of the monitoring policy. And the license is very simple. We identify the number of applications domains on each operating system. So if you have Oracle running, we license you for Oracle. If you have Oracle and Hadoop running, we license you for Oracle and Hadoop. It's a very simple license mechanism in there. So that was the first part of increasing efficiency in management. But the other area where management solutions take up a whole lot of operator time is in the area of reporting. Now, reporting across the service has been a challenge for many management tools. With the introduction of Service Health Reporter, we brought down the challenge by giving the ability to run a report based on a runtime service model. So if the runtime service model changes, the report automatically takes care of the change. In 9.3, we introduced a few more things in Service Health Reporter. One is the support for remote collectors, which gives you the ability to have collection done remotely while the reporting is done centrally. We also provide the ability to have access control mechanism with Service Health Reporter. And we refreshed the report interface by introducing Business Objects newer version into this product. With the introduction of Service Health Reporter 9.3, we announced that we are going to phase out OV Performance Insight product. That was our key reporting solution in the past. If you are an existing OVPI customer, you would have received an intimation from our support team. And if you are more interested in understanding the migration, you can actually reach out to them. And they will be happy to introduce the new migration program to you. I'll give you a brief overview of what we are offering today. For our OVPI customers, we are providing them a like-to-like migration of the number of nodes that they were actually managing through Performance Insight for reporting. They would be entitled to a similar number of nodes for SHR. And we will migrate all PI core and report packs to SHR using the migration SKUs. For OVPI customers who might be using Network Node Manager, since we need the ISPI on Network Node Manager to collect reports, information from Network Node Manager for SHR, we are giving a special promo to offer them ISPI for Network Node Manager. In order to be able to manage this entire heterogeneous environment, it's important that we understand the whole solution from end-to-end point of view, whether it is managed by HP tools or non-HP tools. So with BSM connectors, we now provide the BSM connectors to you, and these are available at HP Live Network. The link is available on the top of the screen here. And out there, you can understand, you can download for free many connectors that are already available, for example, for Nagios, for Microsoft SCOM, for Tivoli Netcool, and so on. We have also introduced an ability for our partners to actually upload the connectors that they develop and offer it to you. This gives you the ability to extend the BSM Operations Bridge OMI solution to include events and metric data and topology data from the various other tools that might be available in your existing environment. Okay, so that was a quick overview of how we are introducing operational efficiency. Now let me switch gears and talk to you about the new style of IT management with operations intelligence. As you all know that, in early 90s, the concept of management was predetermined. We knew what we need to manage, and the scale was small. And in 2000, we introduced the concept of advanced correlation because the scale increased and applications became multi-tiered. It was important to manage across multiple tiers. But now, with the introduction of virtualization and cloud, the scale has exponentially increased. And it is time for us to now do analytics and not just correlation, analytics and prediction, in order to make sense out of this huge amount of data that is being generated by IT management tools. To give you a concept out here, the 2x2 matrix, as you see here, is that it started with tracing the event, understanding where the event has come from. That was done because we knew what the problem was, and we set monitoring tools to look for those problems. As we moved up into advanced correlation, we brought in the concept of operations bridge or event correlation or application and infrastructure management in one single console using proactive monitoring approaches. But the issue is today that with this huge data center introducing new applications, new solutions, IT team many times do not even understand or may not even know how to manage this infrastructure because it's coming up pretty fast and the applications are new. So we need to look at it at two levels. One, being able to collect everything out there so that we are aware, irrespective of whether we have configured to monitor a particular event or not. We still need to know that an event has got generated through log management. And when we collect so much information, we need to be able to do advanced analytics on top of it so that we can actually understand what happened in the infrastructure. I'll talk about it through a demo a little later to give you the concept of advanced analytics. HP today offers solution in all of these areas, whether it's event triage using Operations Manager, which is our core system management solution or network management, proactive monitoring using our capability to do topology-based or event correlation, log management using our logger solution, prediction using our prediction capabilities, and we're introducing the solution operations analytics in this advanced analytics area, which will help us make sense out of this huge amount of data that gets generated through monitoring tools. To do log management, it's important that we collect borderless, which would, irrespective of whichever the source, whichever the technology, we want to collect from logs, metrics, events, storage, apps, what have you. Be able to collect it is the first step. Store it in such a fashion that it's compressed well enough and analyze it. And that's the first step in understanding how problems which are unknown can be captured. But once we have done that, we need to be able to store it in a fashion that it doesn't eat up a huge amount of storage out there, and be able to analyze or look for information using simple key search. That's the most fundamental work that we want to do with log management. That's the first offer that HP will make, which is log management as part of operations analytics. It will store data from any source using our leading technology based on ArcSight Logger, which is included or which is embedded into the product, and also collect information like metrics from monitoring tools which are HP tools or could also be non-HP tools. It provides the ability to analyze this information in very nice and graphical interfaces with search capabilities which are simple, and the data can be used for many different perspectives, whether it is IT security, IT operations, governance, risk or compliance, or simple log analytics. All of this will be available in our Log Insight. The next step to Log Insight is to understand this information that we have collected and stored, can we actually make any sense out of it? And it is a well-known fact that human eye cannot read logs when it is such huge amount of information out there. And human eye can perceive visual analytics much better than logs. It's also important to understand that the search has to have some context, whether it's an application or a service, so that you are guided to a solution or identifying a problem rather than having to search in the dark. So all of this is very important from analytics point of view. So our Operations Analytics Advanced version will provide these capabilities exactly. It will give the ability to give visual analytics, guided troubleshooting, and IT search across applications, whether they are on-premise or mobile applications, storage, networks, systems, and other sources. We'll pick up information whether it's performance metrics, operational events, related to topology, and even log files that are getting generated by the systems. To give you a visual of what we are going to do, I'm going to run a small demo so that you get an idea of how operation analytics will work. Consider in this scenario that I am John from Application Support Group and have recently deployed HP Operations Analytics. It's Monday morning on the 3rd of June in this case, and I'm looking at my IT environment the morning I walk in. As you can see, I have assembled some fully dynamic visual analytics apps into a dynamic dashboard. These views are easily configurable. You can see how we leverage visual analytics to present the user with insight to a large amount of IT data, be it topology, logs, or metrics. As we look top left, we see through a hot data visualization that some heat is building in our big and complex IT environment. This is a great way to pinpoint to issues or hotspots as they are building up across a complex IT landscape. In this case, we see the heat is building up from our mobile banking application where customers face unacceptable response times. So talking of the banking application, top middle, we see a sunburst model. The sunburst model helps us visualize the different layers or topology of the application. For example, the web logic layer in the banking application clearly has some problem right now, as does the database. Okay, the heat map top right allows me to quickly visualize the situation over time. All the visual analytics point to troubleshoot trouble that is building in the mobile banking. As you can see, there's reds everywhere. Now, John is aware that an application upgrade of the banking application was carried over the weekend. He decides the site might be useful to take a quick look back in time to see if that will help him understand the issue. Here, the time-lapsed analytic feature of operation analytics will help him. Let's see what happens. Simply by clicking the back button, John is literally stepping back in time. As John moves back in time across all components, he can see how the behavior has evolved over time. The issue seems to have started at close to 7 a.m. on the bar that you can see on the time, possibly on Monday, probably as the customers came back after weekend. If we click once more on the back arrow, so as he looks a little further back, he realized the weekend did not seem too bad, probably due to fewer users. And as we move even further back in time, John can start to see from the sunburst and the heat chart when things seem to be a little more normal, things are becoming greener. So we are now all the way back to the weekend, on the Sunday, everything was fine. And what we see from the performance graph beneath the heat chart is that a metric, the number of connections, suddenly dropped. This change in the number of connections, it seems to have had an adverse effect on the application behavior. because the other metric around time waiting for connections is much lower on Friday than what we saw on Monday morning. So at this point, John can search for all the log messages in the context of banking application and the related time period. Let's click on the filter. Let's go into the filter and see. By simply typing in the search filter change, John quickly, he can see a log message containing the related change on the connection parameter and who carried it out. In this case, a guy named by George K. I wonder who that is. Compare this experience with a dumpster diving into logs without any context, which will require a PhD in regular expression. Clearly a different experience with operations analytics. Let's go forward in time. So while John is moving through time again, let's summarize. We had a quick identification analysis and found the root cause, all by applying advanced analytics across metrics, events, topology, and log information. With hot data, John could see the problem build up in the complex IT landscape. The sunburst provided an overall view of the banking application, and the heat map showed an overtime perspective. By being able to play back the data, additional insight was gained by visually seeing the metrics behavior. And finally, a search of a log file relevant to the application helped him really discover the smoking gun in terms of the record of the actual change. Isn't that awesome? Now, as you can see, the features, the problems that it can solve, the benefits that it provides is immense. And we do not stop at just HP solutions. If you have an existing investment in HP products or even Splunk, we'll plug on top of that and provide you this capability. The next big capability that we offer is Foresight with behavioral and predictive analytics. With service health analytics, for if you are using any of the HP products in system management, application management, we can automate the process of understanding a daily behavior of the application, and also give you the ability to baseline it automatically without having to worry about thresholds. And once the metric crosses the baseline, we will be able to create an anomaly based on an HP's algorithm, which can at times detect an issue an hour before it actually occurred. If I look at the capabilities that SHA provides, it provides you the adaptive baseline, so you don't have to worry about thresholds. A topology analysis, to correlate the metrics of the related CI, differentiate between anomalies and real anomalies and spikes, and historical analysis, compare with similar anomalies in the past. And learn system behavior statistically based on statistical information. Why HP for operational analytics solutions? HP has stronger products, much more mature than some of the log products out there like Splunk out there. Provide borderless collection for more than 300 different sources. HP's logging capability using ArcSight has been a leader in this space for many years now. And it's integrated with BSM. Logger is a leader in Gartner's Magic Quadrant, and HP Analytics provides very strong value as described by Emma. Next, let's talk briefly about application performance management innovation. So we talked about analytics, but a whole lot of data is generated by applications. And in this space, we actually introduce this monitoring of services across mobiles. And as you know, a mobile service spans the service by itself, the carrier networks, which could be multiple, and the apps that are running across different models of devices. With HP's end-to-end mobile performance monitoring, we provide the ability to baseline the real user performance across these different devices, across different carriers, understand which of the carriers is causing an issue, whether it's a carrier issue or the service issue or the device issue, and understand how the end users are actually using the service. All of this through our application performance monitoring solution for mobiles. I give you an example. A real user flow analytics is a great ability that we provide today to understand how users are accessing an application. This could be across on-premise applications or through mobiles. You can get a view of how users are actually going and accessing the application, what are the steps that they are taking. HP also introduced Performance Anywhere, our solution available under SaaS that gives you the ability to monitor key applications from various points of presence across the world. And we are introducing more and more points of presence. So here is a few graphics to give you the great look and feel of Performance Anywhere. It gives you the ability to predict as well using our prediction capability based on the baseline information that it is collecting. It also provides the ability to determine the root cause of poor mobile performance if you're monitoring mobile services by telling you whether it's the network time, the backend time, or the operator or the location where the issue is. Because we understand virtualization very well, HP also introduced a solution to manage the underlying virtualization platform using HP's Virtualization Performance Viewer. The solution is available, and a freeware of the solution is also available for you to freely download from HP's site, called HP's Virtual Performance Viewer. There are many other free tools available that you can make sense out of. For example, the HP NetFlow Analytics, it's a free tool that can be used in HP solutions. And a new console on our SiteScope solution that gives you the ability to have a dashboard view of all the servers or services that you are monitoring through SiteScope. So let's talk about some customer examples. In this case, it's Kuwait in the Turk. It's a large organization, a bank, that had been spending too much time before about 3 hours on root cause. And now they've reduced the root cause analysis to less than an hour. They were receiving close to 3,000 calls on apps per year. They've reduced it by 1/3. A call to action for operations analytics, you can download the first generation of operations analytics, which is currently available. And by the middle of next month, we will have the next release also available. And you can download it from the site hp.com/go/operations-analytics. If you have any further information that you require, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to give you that information. There are other links available on this slide deck, which will be available to you, including a very nice white paper you can download from the Operations Analytics website about OMI. So thank you, and that brings me to the end of my session. Over to you, Damien.
Thanks, Kafil. Everyone say thank you to Kafil for presenting today. Now, I haven't noticed any questions, so if you have any, please raise them now. Alternatively, you can also raise your hand, and I can give you control of the mic, so to say, and you can ask a question of Kafil now if you like. Okay, from what I can see, we haven't got any questions, but yeah, and I'm sure Kapil or any of the members of the Data Special Interest Group will be willing to answer any of your questions. So I think we just move on to the final slide, Kapil. Okay, now after the end of the session, you'll receive a survey in terms of your feedback on the presentation. Now, if you'd like to opt in to hearing it and receiving more information from HP and Vivid, you can go into the running to winning a $50 Amazon gift card. So we appreciate your feedback to the Vivid and HP communities, and you could, by doing so, you could potentially win a gift card. And that brings us to the end of our session today. Yeah, so if you want to see further information, you can catch the webinar recording. Thank you very much, everybody.